What is shaking, everybody? Welcome to a Tuesday edition of the show. We haven't done Tuesdays very often, but we wanted to get a hold of my good friend Dave Flemming to talk a little Giants, a little baseball playoffs. And if you remember, Dave, it was way back when I first started this thing. I don't know, 7-8 months ago. You're one of the few guests that dared come into the backyard. And look, I mean, you look great. I think the backyard has revitalizing properties, and I think more people should come to the backyard.
I would have come over today if you'd asked me. I'm in my kitchen. There's no rabbits running around here.
I could have. I just thought, you know what? Here's what I thought. I thought I could have asked you, and you might have done it, but I didn't want to make you make that decision. Your season just got over with. You're going to be doing some traveling. I just said, you know what? Maybe another time. Don't get me wrong. Anytime I could get you over in the backyard, maybe grab a beer and see you in person, I'm more than happy. But I felt like, you know what? Let's not even ask and put him in that position. So,
all right, next time I'm coming over, we'll have a beer.
Okay.
We'll pet the rabbits. We'll do the show in the yard.
Yeah.
Today,
let's make sure we keep that in proper context. Dave means a real rabbit, okay? I don't want anybody out there thinking, is that what they call it nowadays, huh?
Yeah,
no, they don't. It's a rabbit, okay?
Running around Tom's
it's
yard.
A real rabbit and a dog, of course.
And a dog. You got the dog with you. Big day. It's probably better that I'm at home today because my son, my youngest, so my two oldest are in college. My son's still in high school. He's got his driver's test today. So I'm picking him up in a few hours and taking him to his driver's test.
Remember how much of a stressful day that was? Like literally, it hasn't changed from the time we grew up till now. It's so stressful, and then you look back on it and you think, oh, it really is not a big deal. Everyone learns how to drive, and everyone can drive, and it's not a huge deal. But you can't tell your kids that because it is a big day, and it was a big day for me when you get your permit, you get your license and everything. But like everyone. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. 99.9% of the people will get through it, and they will eventually get their driver's license and then give their parents gray hair for about a year or two.
Yeah, and he's pretty good driver for a 16-year-old boy. He's a pretty good driver, but he's grinding it out. He's also doing the lot of San Francisco kids. I mean, a lot chicken out and go to like Corte Madera or Mill Valley or whatever and take the driver's test, where it's sort of like quiet suburban roads. He's going right onto Fell Street.
I like it. Yes.
He said, forget it. We're grinding it out here.
Yeah, don't be a soft Bay Area woke kid. Get in there, mix it up with everybody. Get in there, take Fell Street, get the turns. It's right. You gotta manage the brake and the clutch. Now as he's got to be driving an automatic though. Like okay, if he went clutch, then I'd say he's gone too far, and I worry about him into the future because he's got so much testosterone and so much badassery. If you can take your driver's test with the clutch in the city, you may have gone. I'm scared of you at that point. I'm like, I don't know what this kid's capable of.
Just drop him into Mumbai as a cab
driver.
Oh God. You could do anything. If you could pull that off. I'm proud of him though. He wants to do it here.
Absolutely, you should be. Like I said, that's badass right there. That's like, I'm meeting this thing head on. Let's go. Let's not try to skirt it. Let's get after it. All right, let's get into a little baseball. Giants fired their manager Bob Melvin after a couple years, and I never know what to make of managers like when they get fired. 81 and 81, whatever. It wasn't what they had hoped for. Wasn't what they expected. I know Bob Melvin's a really good manager. I know that. I know he knows baseball. I know he's a really good manager. Sometimes it just doesn't work in certain situations. Buster Posey comes in, maybe he wants his guy, as a lot of people do when they take over an organization. But what did you make of that? Was there anything you looked at over the last year or two that you thought maybe the philosophy, his philosophy, wasn't quite meshing with Buster, or it just didn't work out for whatever reason?
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. It's just it's purely the bottom line results.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I think Buster would agree with you if Buster were sitting here talking to you. Bob's a good manager. He's a good person. He loves the Giants. He poured himself into the job. But Bob, there's nothing that Bob did that was like egregiously wrong and like, oh my gosh, we can't have this guy. That's not it. But I think the Giants really do feel like they had a very talented team this year, and it kind of fell apart at the end. But before the trade deadline, I mean, they were in big time, like go for it mode. They make the Devers trade. They're thinking this is we're now lining up our scouts to look at other teams for the trade deadline to add, and then it all just kind of crumbled. And I'm not saying the decision was made then, but I definitely think those weeks before the trade deadline when they just played so poorly,
Yeah.
that ended up probably being the ultimate reason why this happened. Not because like a certain game there was a moment where Bob managed poorly or something. Just like, hey, we added to this roster, we gave you a ton of pieces and it didn't work out, and so probably I think that's why they made the change.
Well, I'll see. Well, let me ask you this. Well, I'll get to that later on. I want to ask you like who they may be considering. I know everyone's going to mention Bochy, but the one main reason I think this team underachieved this year was the pitching wasn't as dominant as I think everyone predicted it might be. Like Webb and Ray did their thing, but it almost felt like every time they pitched, they had to win. Like the pressure on those two this year was enormous. Now, Verlander got some tough breaks and pitched a lot better than the win-loss record certainly would tell you. And he might be worth a look to see if like, hey, do you want to come back one more year? How you feeling? But the young guys just couldn't get it done. Harrison, I don't know if they trusted him, but he got him Devers, and I think you got to make that trade 10 out of 10 times, regardless of the contract, regardless of, what kind of shape he's going to be in 6 years. Doesn't matter. You need to get hitters here in this ballpark. But Birdsong forgot how to throw strikes, right? Wynn's more of a bullpen guy. Roop, numbers look good. Then he got hurt. But if you look deeper into those numbers, they're okay. And then Wisenhunt comes up. He needs a third pitch. I'm sorry, the changeup fastball isn't gonna get it done. I don't think at this level. Seymour is okay. I just think that's where it kind of fell apart. Dave was like, okay, we got this whole bunch of young pitching, and we should be great. All these choices to make, and they really didn't have many choices by the end of the season with their young pitching.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it's amazing. You and I talked at the beginning of the year, and that was part of what we talked about was like, man, they have a lot of choices, a lot of depth, a lot of possible starters. And by the end of the year, they were, just scuffling to find anybody who could take the ball.
Yeah.
It happens in this sport. And I do agree, like big picture, what's the thing that the Giants need to do most? Get back to being that kind of team and add to the pitching staff. And I would argue that probably the thing that most derailed this season is the Birdsong Roop double whammy of Roop goes down with the injury and Birdsong just, and look, I
forgot how to throw strikes.
He did. And I don't know, there's probably nobody to blame for that. I think the fact that the Giants couldn't quickly help him get back on track, I'm not saying that was possible, but if you're trying to judge the staff and how everybody managed this roster, and that's not a good thing that happened and they couldn't help this kid. Now that needs to be a big priority for the offseason. But I would argue that probably that derailed this season as much as anything. There was a cascade effect. So those two guys go down, then you're trying to find who can take starts, takes away from your bullpen. Like the guys you were counting on in the bullpen had to go to different roles. They just could never really get back on track with the starters after that. That's going to be a big priority for the offseason for sure.
Yeah. I think I looked at it. I think Birdsong was 17 walks in his last 13 innings pitched, and you just tell he was grinding the gears when he was on the mound. But it's not just the starters. I mean, the bullpen, which we thought was going to be like incredible. Hey, let's go Rodriguez, Duvall, Walker. Okay, maybe we'll go Rodriguez, Walker, Duvall now. And then Duvall's one of those guys, like you watch him pitch one time, you think, oh my God, this guy could be the best closer in the game. And then you watch him pitch over a month, you're like, no. I don't know what happened to Walker this year. Walker just completely fell apart. I think Rodriguez, they got a good one when he comes back healthy. I think they got a good one for the back. But I thought they had depth in the back end of the bullpen. As it turned out, they didn't really have much at the back end of the bullpen by the end of the year. So it wasn't just starters. It was the back end of the bullpen that was troublesome as well.
Yeah, and I think, and that's where, like, if you're trying to break down like what happened to this team, why is the manager not coming back next year? I would put aside the end of the year. I mean, I think Buster is realistic enough to know that they made those trades. Then Rodriguez gets hurt. Like, there wasn't really anywhere to turn late in the year, and they tried. And for a while, they actually did a pretty good job of kind of piecing it together. But they ran out of options at the end of the year, and I don't think Bob's getting judged on that. But I do think that leading up those moments that you're talking about early in the season, I do think everybody's getting evaluated on that, because all the way up until the trade deadline, they had a roster with a lot of talented arms. And so again, it's like, it's so frustrating in this sport. I love baseball, but one of the most frustrating things about it is the injuries on the pitching side and how that can change a whole franchise. And it's the Giants are doing their best to try to figure out, can we keep our pitchers healthier? Is there a way we can train them differently? Everybody's trying to do that, but the attrition on the pitching side was discouraging. And you just have to keep piling on depth. You got to keep, look, at the end of the year, maybe Trevor McDonald's a guy you can find a role for. There were some positives at the end of the year, like maybe you gave some guys a chance who can earn a spot next season. But bullpen starters, the whole pitching side, the defense wasn't nearly good enough to support the pitching. I mean, I think that's a big part of the story.
Yeah.
Outfield defense this year, the Giants have talked about it for years now. We got to get better defensively, and have they pulled that off? I don't really think so. I don't think they have yet. They still need to work on that.
Well, what do you do with Ramos? I mean, Ramos can hit. I still think if this team's going to be as good as it can be offensively, I think Lee's got to figure out whatever he's got to do to get in that leadoff spot again, and Ramos got to be moved. You can put him in the 2 hole, you can put him in the 5 or 6 hole. That's fine. I just would rather not have him at leadoff. But look, he's a quality major league bat. In the field, however, he really struggled at times. And I don't know if that's just instinctual stuff, like you can work and work and work as much as possible, but it's not going to matter that much. You can't hide him anyplace else. I mean, left field's a place you can hide somebody at AT&T. Can't be your DH. That's Devers. Devers is going to be your DH most of the years. So, I mean, I guess you just work and work and work and hope for the best, but like, he's got to get better in left field. I mean, is it an instinctual thing for you? Is it like jumps, not getting good reads? What is it?
Some of it is instinct, because the guy is a worker. Like Elliott is not, he's not just like sort of showing up and like, I don't care about it. He is putting in effort to try to get better at that. I would be interested in looking at him. I think when we watched him when he first came up in right field, I think he was a better right fielder than he is a left fielder. And I think some players, it sounds ridiculous, but I think some players, it does fit their eye, the way the ball comes off the bat, the way the geometry of the whole game looks from one side to the other. Yeah. I would be willing to experiment and maybe move him around a little bit and see if I could find it. In some ways, he was better in center field than he was in left field. He's just really struggled over there. And so 2 things. Number one, I'd be willing to mess around with it a little bit, because you're right. They got to get that figured out. All the analytics and the new stuff that analyzes baseball, you could, whatever opinion you have about that stuff. One thing that I like about it is that it does try to capture a full player's skill set. So not just look at batting average and home runs and say, is this guy a good player or not a good player? Try to capture the full contribution of a player, defense, base running, all of it. And if you believe those metrics, Elliott gives back like 90% of his hitting value with the other stuff that he does, and it kills his value as a player. It really makes him a lot less valuable than what you look at those offensive numbers and you think, man, this guy's a really good player, and he is. So maybe it's coaching. Maybe for Buster, maybe part of it is watching Elliott struggle out there and thinking we don't have anybody who can help him get better. I mean, I think that's at least, it's at least a possibility. Like get somebody who can connect with him on the defensive side a little better. Maybe give him a different look. I mean, I could see Ramos in right, Lee in left, Gilbert, if you think Gilbert can hit enough to be a mostly everyday guy or a part-time guy. Gilbert in center field. I'd be willing to experiment out there and try to find my best defensive alignment. It's really important for this team to get better out there.
Did you like Ramos leading off? Do you think Lee needs to? Because I think Lee needs to get back to the leadoff spot. I'd like to see him use his athleticism. This year, he got way too pull happy for like a large portion of the season instead of just, he has that bat ability and bat control to be able to get it to the left side, and the numbers actually look good. Like he came on toward the end of the year and started hitting the ball a little bit. So I still think this guy can be a useful player. I just think if he could be a table setter for this lineup, Chapman and Adames and Devers and Ramos, and we'll see what Eldridge has next year for him. But I still think like their best lineup is when he's playing well, hitting well out of the leadoff spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think Lee connecting with Jung-Hoo is another big thing for whatever the new staff is like. And I'm not putting this on the old staff, but it's very clear that they did not help. I mean, Jung-Hoo is a really talented athlete, really talented. He was tentative in the outfield. He was really tentative on the bases. We almost never saw him bunt. I know he's an excellent bunter. When you watch him work at it, he's an excellent bunter. I think they didn't do a very good job of connecting with Jung-Hoo and finding ways to help him explore different ways to be a really good player and encourage him to be a more confident athlete. That to me, that is part of coaching, is like help players find a next level. Help players find out, and there's a definite language barrier, makes it more complicated with Jung-Hoo, but he is an awesome guy. He wants to be good. He cares so much about being good and being a good teammate and all that stuff. Maybe even cares too much. Huge priority for me, for whoever comes in, manager, staff, is there are a lot of different ways that Jung-Hoo can be a more diverse player than we've seen from him so far. And I think you're right about the leadoff spot. He can manipulate the ball. He can take more walks. He has a good understanding of the strike zone. He didn't take enough walks this year. He didn't bunt. He hardly ever tried to bunt for a hit. Like one or two times the whole year, he could get a bunch of hits, I think, with his skills controlling the bat. That needs to get better because he can be a really good – I'm convinced he can be a really good player. He's already a solid player. He can be a lot better.
Do we know what Matos is yet? Do we know for sure what he is? Is he maybe he'll get hot for 4 or 5 weeks? I feel like he's had enough chances, and then every once in a while he'll just get hot, and you're like, God, I wonder if he needs more chances. I wonder, because Ramos took a few chances, that wasn't linear, right? That was no, maybe no, and then all of a sudden it's oh my God, just at the very tail end of it, when everybody okay, let's move on from Ramos, then he comes up and he's an all-star. It's bang. I don't know if Matos has that. I don't know if he doesn't have that. I mean, what do you think?
There's definitely a fear everybody has, because I've been a fan. A lot of people around here have been a big fan of him, and he has a skill, like a bat to ball skill that's by big league standards is high level. There's a fear that if they move on from him, he's going to go somewhere else. And he's, what is he, 24? I mean, he's still young. He still does have time to figure it out. I would say this about Matos. He isn't as dynamic of an athlete as I thought he was going to be when I was hearing about him coming up.
Yeah.
He's not, he doesn't get good jumps in the outfield. He's not a great fast base runner. He's got some power, and we've seen some of that power, but he's not like the exit velocity king, the bat speed king. the tools are not as loud as probably I thought they were going to be. And I do think that limits his ceiling. And so I had big hopes for Matos. And I still think Matos can be a good big league player, but the lack of those loud tools probably makes the upside a little less than what I thought it was. And the defense, like, look, Matos, I don't know how to evaluate that. I don't know, but he just is not a good defensive outfielder, and that for these young players, the ability to come up and help your team in a bunch of different ways while you figure it out on the hitting side is so important, and he just hasn't been able to do that.
I wonder how many players in baseball today. And look, instinct is either you have it. I've always felt like either you have it or you don't. But it's not instinct like a wild animal that hunts because, well, it's instinct. I got to survive, and they just know how to do that. It's instinct from playing baseball at a young age and learning things and having a feel for things, and then some of it's innate. I really think that's one of the things that analytics has taken away from the game is we rely so much on numbers, and players rely so much on numbers, whether it be, spin rate, the depth of pitches, a break, bat speed, velocity through the hitting zone, launch angle, all that stuff. I think the young generation has probably spent so much time on that they've really forgotten like how to think the game a little bit. And I think that does affect jumps in the outfield. I think it affects jumps on the base paths. I think it affects secondary, all that stuff that you talk about. You learn how to play when you're younger. I think these guys, a lot of them just don't have it because they've never been asked. They're more about the card. Tell me where to stand. Tell me where to play. And then we'll go in there and get the iPad out and work on all these numbers.
Yeah, and I think, there was something interesting that Randy Wynn said early this year. Randy's in charge of the Giants minor leagues now. And he told a story about maybe, you've talked about this or I talked about this with you, but he told a really interesting story about when he was a minor leaguer with Tampa Bay. And his coach basically said, you're going to attempt to steal 100 bases this year. And Randy's like, what do you mean? Like he was like, well, what about this? And the guy was like, I don't care the circumstance, the score, your job as a minor leaguer this year is to get a ton of reps trying to steal bases. You're going to get thrown out a bunch of times. You're going to keep running. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. Like, got to give players a chance to play their way through some mistakes, not be told what to do, but experiment on the field with how their bodies move, what they're seeing, and I agree with you there that needs to probably start down in the minor leagues for a lot of these guys. And I'm optimistic that the Giants are doing that. One thing when you were talking, I don't know if you noticed this, but Drew Gilbert late in the year, somebody interviewed him about his outfield play. And he talked about how a Mets coach, because we showed it on TV. I don't know if you were watching, a few of these games where we
I remember that.
He has that little hop in the outfield.
Yep.
It's really, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it exactly that way. Like it's not like a little, he takes a real jump at every single pitch that's thrown in the game. And I asked him about it. He didn't really tell me much about it. And then he said to one of the writers, a coach in the Mets minor leagues, they were trying to figure out a way, how does he get better jumps on balls in the outfield? And they just tried it. And all of a sudden it was like, hey, it worked for me. And to me, that was like, okay, that's a good example of how coaching can help a guy get better at one specific thing. You experiment, you try a few things, see what works with the player. Because Gilbert's jumps were like off the charts this year for the Giants. The Giants have their own internal defensive numbers, and they thought had some of the best jumps in baseball. And he credited this coach who helped him come up with this. He hadn't done that for his whole life. And that's I think you see that and you hear that, and that can be a little frustrating. It's like, wow, why is it that some of these other Giants players, we're not seeing stuff like that happen with them? I'm not saying we're not seeing any of it, but it does make you wonder, like, are there other things that somebody could be helping some of these guys with that they haven't gotten help with yet?
They took the term jump Literally.
Literally.
There's like literally, we're gonna jump and then we're gonna go.
And maybe it wouldn't
pretty
work for
crazy.
maybe you got to be a spaz
Yeah.
and have the energy of a 5-year-old like Drew does to do it. I mean, you think he's doing a jump. How many times?
Yeah.
150 times a game. Like it takes a lot of energy, but it works.
Oh God! Now that's the first thing I would do in the minor leagues. I'd take away, if they have them, all position cards. No one's looking. No one's looking at a card. You're gonna figure out where to position yourself defensively by the pitch, the location of the pitch, what pitch they're throwing, and reading the batter. You just start figuring that out, instead of here's your card, 2 steps to the left, like you're doing the hokey pokey out there in the outfield. It's like fucking, I mean, these guys have no idea. Which, if you ask them to read an at bat, they'd be like, "What are you talking about? Read an at bat?" It's like, well, get your face out of the iPad for a little bit.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, look, some of that still does happen naturally, whether the game allows it to or not. And Eldridge is a whole different topic, but he came up to AAA this year and got absolutely pounded with the off-speed stuff down, like one after another. I would go in just for fun and look at, because AAA has all the pitch tracking stuff, so you can just you can just click on his at bats in AAA, and they show that Statcast strike zone and like the pitch map. And I mean, like almost without exception, every game right at the bottom of the strike zone and below, 75% of the pitches to Eldridge, and almost all of them were, change up, slider, curveball, whatever.
Yeah.
And there would be one dot up belled high, and it would be a 115 mile an hour home run. It's like, so the encouraging thing is, to me, is he came up to the big leagues at the end of the year, and it wasn't perfect. Kid's 20 years old. He's like fire hose time for him. The info that's coming to him, he's learning so much. But he was very patient with that stuff in the big leagues. He did a great job. And to me, it was like a clear example of, all right, this guy worked on something specifically down there, came up to the major leagues, maybe even a little bit before he was ready. And that work had paid off to some degree. That gives me a lot of optimism about him going forward.
No, me too. And look, when you're 6'7", it's like golf. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with your swing. So which makes it even more amazing what Aaron Judge continues to do at his height. I'm guessing you'll concur with this, but I'll ask just in case. I would imagine gauging Justin Verlander's interest in coming back would be something the Giants would be interested in doing. I would be interested in doing it. I don't know how he feels. I'm sure it's going to be up to him, but do you think that's something the Giants would have a taste for?
Yeah, I think so. I do. I mean, some of that is, I think, this wouldn't be a knock on Justin at all, but you see how Buster wants to build this team. Like, his strong preference is players who are going to be not. I don't think Buster wants to spend $200 million on a free agent pitcher. I don't think that's his idea. A great decision, but I do think he likes the idea of a core group of players that you can count on for more than just 1 year. And Verlander's not that at this point in his career. I think part of it might be decided by early in the offseason. Are there options for players who you might feel like you could sign for a few years or trade for and have for a few years? Maybe that would supersede Verlander, but otherwise they have to be interested in bringing him back. He was their best pitcher down the stretch. It was really amazing how well he performed this year. He did his job and then some. Like, they got their money's worth out of Justin Verlander, no doubt about that. And he took he missed that month early in the year when whatever it was, a neck thing or something. Otherwise, he took the ball every time and got better as the year went on. I think they'd be interested in bringing him back.
And I don't think they could look at the signings of Chapman and Adames this year and say they're anything other than a success this year. I mean, maybe not like, oh my gosh, what an incredible signings those were. Like, I'm not going to say it was a home run, but it was a triple. Like, it was like, hey, we got what we wanted and then some from these two guys.
Yeah, and it makes you optimistic about next year with Adames. Like, okay, the adjustment period got out of the way. Now we you remember early in the year, every night we were showing those numbers. He's a slow starter. He's a slow starter. Like, oh my God, we're trying to talk ourselves into this. Like, but I think clearly he was putting a ton of pressure on himself. And I'm hoping that next year that won't be the case, and we'll see this Adames for the full year. Is he a perfect 100% complete player? No, he's not going to win a batting title. He is going to strike out a lot. But there's so many good things that he does on the field, and their shortstop position was a mess for a few years, and it's so much better now than it was. Chapman, another part of what happened this season to the Giants, you and I talked about Birdsong and Roop. Chapman's hand and how screwed up his hand got derailed this season too. Like, he was never the same after diving back into the bag, spraining his fingers. His hand was always cut up from diving on the dirt. I don't know what was going on with that. He still had a really good year, and their record with him and without him was stark. Like, they are a way better team with Chapman in there than without him. I'm with you. Those two, that's a good anchor for a team. You got Devers, you got those two, you got Webb on the mound. Like, those are real, true, actual foundational building blocks that even 2 years ago they didn't have. And that's where, when you step back and think even just 1 year to the next, is this roster better than it was? Undoubtedly better than it was.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
Well, I think also with Adames and Chapman, I think you get great clubhouse guys. Like, these are like gamers and kind of throwback guys, kind of dirt bags that get out there and play. I don't know that Devers is that guy, but you don't need to have a whole team full of those guys, but you do need some of those guys. And I think those guys, are locker room leaders, and it does help that you got one who's a Latin player, and then Chapman. So I just think it's a really good mix of what they give you on the field. And you said, hey, they're not complete play, but if they're complete players, they'd be making $40-45 million a year. I mean, they're getting paid for what they do, and they do those things well. Hell, Adames hit 30 home runs this year for the Giants. When's the last time we saw that? Forever ago. I think it.
And Devers, he is not the rah-rah leadership guy. He is.
No.
He played 163 games this year. Not 162, 163.
Wow.
Like, he nobody in baseball had done that for 17 years, something like that. Played 163. I think he missed 4 at bats this year. I'd have to go back and check.
Wow.
He got pinch run for in Boston once or twice. He got pinch hit for in like a real blowout game. Otherwise, not only did he play every game, he took every at bat of the whole year. Like, that is an impressive feat. And you by definition, you are a gamer if you do that.
I guess that's true.
He was not healthy a lot of that time. Like, he had the back thing, the groin thing going on. He had an ankle problem for a little while. Never one time did he walk in that office and say, I need a day. Not one time.
Wow. Now that's impressive. So that teaches everybody a valuable lesson. If you have kids growing up that are playing baseball, give them a nice tobacco plug. I mean, you'll be ready to go the rest of your career. Just jam that plug in there, and then you can stick it out and play with it and chew on it and stick it back in there. And we miss the 70s. Thank you, Devers, for keeping it alive.
He would fit in back then. And we get these close-up shots of him sometimes this year, and like the drool's coming down one side.
Oh man, people don't know what baseball is like back then. Like, literally, like Rod Carew had the massive chaw of leaf tobacco in. Then they'd have the snuff that they would do. I mean, for those that don't know, and used to get Sports Illustrated sent to their house, or maybe used to go to the local liquor store or whatever and pick up a Sports Illustrated. I mean, certainly it's not what it used to be. I don't even know if it's a magazine anymore. It's just online stuff. But go back in the 70s. It's the greatest Sports Illustrated cover of all time. It's former first baseman of the Phillies, Dick Allen, smoking a heater on the cover of Sports Illustrated. It's like, did that happened? Like, literally, that happened. And for people that don't, again, you don't know, Sports Illustrated was like one of the biggest magazines going at that time. Like, it was huge. So to have a dude, and he had the batting helmet on too, not a hat, batting helmet, just smoking a heater on the cover. There it is. See if we can find it. There it is.
He's juggling. He's got a helmet on.
He's juggling. Oh my God. And I guess it was, oh, you know what? Was that the White Sox?
Look at that. He's wearing the red White Sox jersey.
I always thought it was the Phillies, because I think he played for the Phillies. Yeah, he did. And I just assumed that was, I never really paid attention to it. Wow. I just thought it was red.
Good. When he left the Phillies, he told the White Sox, "I'm bringing the colors with me." He was so good.
It's such a great cover. I didn't even realize what uniform it was. The cigarette and the juggling just completely distracted me. Look, me.
And this is why baseball's different from all these other sports, and it's just 6-7 months of day after day after day.
Yep.
Weird stuff creeps in, man. It just does. It's football's so. I love football. I love football, but every game, it's like the build up to the game, and it's everybody takes themselves so seriously. We probably need a little more of that Dick Allen stuff today.
Yeah, I think maybe not that per se, but some, like that. When's the last time you saw a hot foot or like gum on the top of somebody's hat in the dugout? Like, does anybody do pranks anymore? I don't know. I don't even know if they do pranks anymore.
Not that much. We had Gilbert this year as sort of the, he was doing his best in the dugout. He was chewing on Robbie Ray's shirt and all that other stuff he was doing.
Maybe they're sending all the pranks through the algorithm to see if it's a funny prank. Algorithm rejects it. It says see ya. All right, go
ahead.
I just know I want to get to a little college football and a little certainly baseball playoffs. But what are some names you're hearing that may pop up in terms of a managerial search for the Giants? Bochy's obviously going to pop up. Everyone's going to talk about him. My thought was, and you brought it up earlier, if we're trying to build this thing for the future, Bochy doesn't necessarily scream future. And I don't know, sometimes nostalgia is better in the past. It just is. Like, if I'm Bochy, I'm like, I got all the money I want. I got my ring. I go into Texas, got a ring there. I got 3 here. Maybe I just go fishing and just call it a career. But I don't know if I'd want to be younger. Schumacher's a guy that jumped out to me, but I mean, take Bochy and then go from there and see, what you think about the managerial search.
Yeah, my guess is it won't be Boch. If it is, all of us would be thrilled. Bochy's one of the all-time greatest head coaches, managers. I mean, Boch would come in and do a good job. My guess is that you're right. That's not the direction that Buster wants to go. Not that nobody appreciates Boch more than Buster.
Sure.
But I think when you listen to him, you and I are talking on Tuesday. Yesterday was the day that Buster had that press conference, and if you listen to his words, like about what he's looking for, to me, it was almost him articulating his own idea of what he wants a baseball team to be. It was Buster's thoughts on what I think is important to build a baseball culture. And so I think that's Buster sort of talking out loud and saying, I want somebody who believes in those same things that I do. And Bochy does, but I think Buster wants, I do think Buster wants a new, I also think the Giants are in need of some fresh blood, some new, I think bringing in some different ideas and somebody from the outside is not the worst thing to combine with a lot of really smart and talented people that the Giants already have and a good roster in place. So I'm with you. And I think I don't really have a list of names, but I think it's possible it sort of comes by us that whoever it is could be a surprise to a lot of us. I mean, I think Buster's going to cast a really wide net and talk to a lot of different people. And it might not be the standard list of, you see the names pop up of who are the candidates for the Giants managerial job. My guess is that that list that we've seen, it's not going to come from that list. I think it's
interesting.
I think it's going to be somebody who's pretty different.
All right, let me see what we got going on. 1-1 going into the 7th, Tigers and Guardians. This would follow a familiar script for Scooble going against the Guardians. Give up one earned run and lose. I mean, the Guardians, I think, finished the season 24-8. And it's weird, Dave. I looked at this matchup because the Tigers were one of the best teams in all of Major League Baseball all season long. Well, until the end. Then they just started a nice slow descent into a rocky landing. But I looked at the Indians. I go, okay, I haven't watched their Guardians. Excuse me. I'm trying to what do these guys? Okay, what do they do well? And I was looking at the stats. I go, oh, what do they do well? I'm not even sure what they do well. I mean, they got Jose Ramirez. I mean, that's what they do well. Gavin Williams is pretty good. Cade Smith has been okay. I mean, they lost Clase, they lost Ortiz. This team faced a lot of turmoil. They don't hit the ball that well. I mean, it's like Ramirez, Kwan, Manzado, I think the first baseman. But defensively, they're tight and they can run a little bit. But it's just, what do you think of this matchup? And they've played each other 6 times in the last 2 weeks. The Guardians took them down in Detroit, swept them in Detroit. But this is an interesting matchup to me. I'd kind of like to see the Tigers advance just because they haven't and the Guardians have. But I do like Stephen Vogt, and I think he seems like a really good dude. So it's an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and I like Scott Harris a lot, who's running the Tigers.
Yeah,
I
right.
pull for Scott. Yeah, if the Tigers don't win the Scooble games, the one that that's going on,
they're in trouble.
they got to win the Scooble games. I mean, I like it. Having an ace is so important this time of year. But it's not important if you lose those games, then you've given up your advantage.
Yeah.
So you got to win the Scooble games. Here's the thing about Cleveland. I think you could kind of say this about Milwaukee in the National League. These teams that build, and it's a really admirable way to build a team. Really is. Like, we're not going to make the mistake. We're going to let our opponents make the mistake. We're going to put pressure on you with our defense, with our base running. We're going to throw strikes. We're not walking people. Like, all that stuff is, I really like that way. It's a fun style to watch. But when you get to the playoffs and you're playing the very best teams every night, are you going to get those mistakes? Last year, the Yankees melted down in a couple big spots in the World Series. And they did make, but to me, most of the time, this time of year, the talent starts to win out as opposed to the team building and the sort of style of play that can carry the day over the regular season when you're playing good teams, but also a lot of teams with flaws. So I guess that's a long way of saying that I'm not sure I see the ceiling of that Cleveland team, or really Detroit for that matter. Whereas, you look at the Mariners, and they've got a couple really good starting pitchers. They've got an excellent bullpen, and then they've got Raleigh and Rodriguez and Eugenio
Suarez and Naylor, and
those guys are talented players. The Blue Jays have a couple of good starters, and they've got guys in the middle of the lineup that you kind of believe in. The Yankees obviously have Judge, who can win you a bunch of games. I like the Red Sox chances. Red Sox Yankees is impossible to predict just because they know each other so well. But when you have Garrett Crochet and Aroldis Chapman, you got the ace and the guy who might be the nastiest in the 9th inning right now, which is amazing after all these years that Aroldis can still. I like that formula too. I guess what I'm saying is I tend to think baseball is unpredictable, but talent this time of year usually rises. And the teams with that high-end talent, Phillies have it, Padres have it, Dodgers have it, Mariners, Red Sox, Yankees. Those are the teams that I tend to favor.
Yeah, I think you're selling the Brewers short if you're comparing them to the Guardians. They were 3rd in Major League Baseball runs scored, and they were number 1 in run differential. I think they don't have that one guy, but I think they got a bunch of guys who, you look at OPSs, they're 760 to 810. Like, they got a bunch of guys that can beat you. Woodruff's missing. That's not going to help. The bullpen's good. I like the defense. I mean, I don't know how Quintana's doing it this year. I watched him; he was terrible with the Angels like 4 years ago or something. I'm like, wait, what happened? Did he go visit Ponce de Leon? I mean, how's this guy back to doing what he does? But I do agree with you. Like I look. And well, let me ask you this because I won't break it down into each matchup, but let's just start off with the Dodgers in the National League. Like the Dodgers are the weirdest team because the Padres are the one team. If you get to the 8th inning and you're losing, you're probably in trouble. Then go Miller Suarez, and good luck scoring against those two guys. Suarez has given up a few runs lately, but Miller hasn't given up a run in 20 outings. The Dodgers, now that they got their pitching back, don't have a problem getting a lead. They just have a real big problem holding that lead. Their bullpen is just arsonists. I mean, they come in there and they just light stuff on fire. It's really incredible to watch what their bullpen does. What do you think of the Dodgers? I mean, is it going to be as simple as, look, if the bullpen does their end of this deal, they should be fine. If not, all bets are off.
Well, I mean, I think two things. Number one, it's a lot harder than because I've read some places like, well, look, Sasaki's in their bullpen now, and maybe in the later rounds, Kershaw will be in their bullpen. Or
not the same.
It's not that easy to do. It is not. You just dropping these dudes into a different role doesn't always work. That's hard. So the bullpen's going to be an issue. The thing about the Dodgers is if Yamamoto and Snell and Ohtani on the pitcher Ohtani, if they're going to be dominant, it's really hard to see the Dodgers losing if those three guys are going to be dominant.
And Glass now.
And you got Glass now too. And having 4 is a big advantage because you see a lot of teams with 2, and then you get to the best of 7, and all of a sudden it comes a total mad scramble to try to cover those games. When you got 4, it's pretty comfortable. Like you're feeling good every game out there. But the Dodgers offensively are not as good as they have been. That doesn't mean they're not good. They have Ohtani, they have Betts, they have Freeman. They're not quite as good as they have been, in my opinion. The guys who have done well, like Pages is a good player.
Pages,
Max Muncy is still a good player. Teoscar Hernandez is a very good player, but those guys, good pitching can attack those guys. So that's the thing about the Dodgers that I think is a little different than it has been in the past. But the starting pitching getting healthy at the right time for them is a huge advantage.
I'm just looking here to see if Will Smith is coming back. Said he's going to be on the wild card roster. So he may have been their best all-around hitter outside of Ohtani this year. Betts struggled this year, but he's still Mookie Betts. So obviously a guy you take very seriously in the middle of that order. I mean, they're pitching. It's the starters. You got no issue with the starters. In fact, it's the best. It's the deepest in the game. But you get to that bullpen, and nothing sucks the life out of a team like losing a game in the bullpen, especially, when it comes to playoffs. Those are tough losses. But as far as talent, I would say the only team in the National League that really can kind of compare with their talent is Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia has that top end talent. I mean, you get to the top of the lineup, and if Trey Turner's going, it's good luck getting through Schwarber, Turner, Harper. I mean, Castellanos is kind of hit or miss. Rio Muto doesn't have the best of years this year, and Baum wasn't as good as he was last year, but it's not easy. I tell you what, I might even pick them to come out of the National League, David Wheeler was healthy, because the other 3 pitchers, they're still going to be able to compete. I mean, there's no doubt they're going to be able to compete with they got Suarez, they got Sanchez, and Nola's been he's been pitching better. But if you had Wheeler, that'd be your guy at the top of that, and then you got Suarez, Sanchez, or whatever you want. Now they got Duran at the back end of the bullpen to solidify that. I might have picked them, but boy, missing Wheeler, that's a tough one.
It's a killer, but they can overcome that. They are good.
They can
to overcome that. And to your point about the bullpen, as good as those Dodgers starters are, you're facing good lineups that are going to make you earn it, and those guys are not going to pitch complete games. They're not. So But those middle innings, 6th, 7th inning, if the Dodgers don't have a big lead and you're facing good pitching on the other side, then they are very vulnerable. So, I mean, that's the nightmare scenario for the Dodgers. And for the Phillies, I think that's it. Like, can those starters just, if that's the matchup that we get, which we would get it in the second round. The baseball playoff bracket is a little frustrating in some ways, but so the Phillies would play.
Do they reseed?
I don't think they reseed. They
it's just like basketball, which is there you go, Detroit 2-1 on top of the 7th. Basketball does that too. I'm like, what is this, the NCAA tournament? Like, why doesn't the team with the best record get the advantage of playing the worst team left? Why would they have to play maybe even the second best team in some situations? It's like, I don't know. I mean, is everybody doing pools that I don't know about in their offices, like baseball playoff pools, NBA playoff pools? Like, how difficult, Dave, is it to say, you know what, you were the best team, you get to play the worst remaining team? It didn't seem that difficult. And then they all the travel, all that. Shut up. Look, if they asked you to get it done, you'd find a way to get it done. I hate that excuse.
Yeah, and credit to the Brewers. Like, look at that bracket. Like, look at what that looks like to win that number 1 seed and not have to face the Dodgers in the division round. Like, that is. I'm not saying the Padres and the Cubs aren't good. They're really good. But the Phillies get the 2 seed. They have a great year, and they're staring at LA for a best of 5 in the division series. That is not easy. But
look at the Blue Jays.
I mean,
the Red Sox and the Yankees. Are you kidding me? Give me the Tigers or the Guardians. I get one of those. I don't know. I don't know what Manfred's doing.
Yeah. It doesn't feel. It feels like you could. It just the easy solution is just let's reseed every round. Like the reward games that earned it in the regular season by giving them the best matchups. But I don't know. Maybe the Phillies. Maybe there's a little silver lining, and you get the Dodgers for a shorter series. Maybe there's something to that. I mean, you saw the Dodgers last year really struggle. 2 years ago, they lose in the best of 5. Last year, they should have lost. I mean, the Padres let them off the hook, and then after that, the Dodgers' dominance sort of came out. Like best of 7 series, it's like the talent really wins out. Maybe it's better to get them in a best of 5 where you win the first game and you're in a great position. Philly will be rocking. That ballpark will be unbelievable. There's probably no place right now in the game for a playoff game like Philadelphia. I mean, that's a really and look, the Reds. I'm not saying the Reds are going to win that series, but Hunter Green starts game 1.
They can pitch.
Like they can pitch, and if Hunter Green just goes out there and is the best version of himself, they're going to have a hard time scoring runs. The Reds could steal game 1. If you win game 1 in a best of 3,
exactly.
You're one fluky thing away from advancing. So I don't want to dismiss the Reds' chances. They have a chance to win that series.
Yeah, I mean, you get a little sphincteritis setting in, and you never know what could happen. But the Reds are so weird because 4 years ago, maybe even 3, they're all hit, no pitch. Like they'd score 7 runs a game and lose. And now you look at them, you're like, now they're like, I don't want to say all pitch because they can hit a little bit, but they're certainly pitching dominated. Like they win because of their pitching. Abbott and Lodolo and Green, and it's like kind of crazy the way they've turned this thing around, and kind of shows you the importance of developing young pitching. You get that in there, all of a sudden you're good to go.
Yeah, and it gives them a chance in that series. I don't want to bring this back to the Giants. We're doing more big picture stuff, but it is, God, 83 wins got it this year. I mean, if you'd asked me at the beginning of the year, I would have said 87, 88 in the National League. 83 got the Reds in. Like,
just a few more.
That is frustrating because, then as beat up as the Giants are, and their bullpen's vulnerable and all that. But if you were going for a best of 3 and you have Logan Webb and Robbie Ray, to best of 3 with with the lineup that the Giants were running out there at the end of the year, they feel like they have a legitimate chance to win a wild card series and then see what happens. That's frustrating to me.
No, there's no doubt. Now, I mean, I could argue, and this is a whole different discussion, whether they should have the extra wild card in a sport that has 162 regular season games. To me, if I got to grind 162 regular season games and get beat by a team that has 82, 83 wins, I'm not real thrilled about that. But look, it's about money. It's about all that. So whatever. It's never going to change. It'll never go back. It'll only expand. Basketball has added the play-in game, which is literally the dumbest thing that I've ever heard of. I keep trying to convince people like it's stupid, but the ratings are good. People watch it. I go, well, yeah, we all watch single elimination stuff, right? It doesn't matter if it's good or not. It's single elimination. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean they deserve to be there. They don't deserve the right to get into the playoffs. At least that's 7 games, so it's kind of hard to advance from a play-in game on. But like, it's the economics of sports now. They're trying to get more high-end games so they can charge more advertising so they can keep pace and make more money. I mean, it is what it is. So you deal with it and you move on.
Yeah, and I'm not going to complain about having playoff games to watch.
No, I know.
It's fun to watch them, but yeah,
it is.
I'm with you. Like, if it's just on fairness of what are we doing here? Are we really trying to reward teams for championship caliber play, especially in baseball? Now, the flip side is the thing about basketball that drives me crazy. It's like we got to watch all these games where one team can't beat the other. Like, yeah. In basketball, it's like the 8 seed is not winning this series.
Agree.
And so then we're going to run it out there for 4 games and just or even 5, like then they steal a game. It's like, really, we got to get back on the plane and go do this again. At least in baseball, you truly can envision a scenario where the Diamondbacks did it a couple of years ago. There is at least a possibility of a true upset run in baseball. And so that makes the actual playoff games to me very compelling because of that. Might not be fair, might not be the right way to do it, but it makes the actual playoff games really, really interesting to watch.
No, I couldn't agree more. Like last year, right? There's no chance the Grizzlies were beating the Thunder. Just wasn't going to happen. Zero chance.
Like
zero chance.
We're just going through this for what? Like
Which is why in baseball I'd be more upset after 162 games. It's like, yes, we could lose to this team.
Correct.
They won 15 fewer games than us. So in basketball, they're like, yeah, we don't care. We'll take care of these guys. Playoff share will get bigger, and we'll be fine. So, all right. So who do you like to come out of the National League and American League? Like I bet on the Brewers, so obviously I'm gonna pick the Brewers. I don't know if I'd pick them, but I like them. I think they got just good a chance as any. I'd probably go Philly if I was just being like if I didn't have a little wager. I'd probably take Philly. And in the American League, boy, that's just I don't know. I mean, I like where the Yankees are at. The bullpen's a little weird. Williams wasn't great. Duvall wasn't great. Bednar's okay. They got the 2 starters in Rodon and then Fried. If they had Cole now you'd be talking if Cole were healthy. But they got a bunch of hitters on that team too. So, I guess I'd probably take the Yankees. I'll be rooting for the Mariners just because it's kind of a fun story. As a Moose mascot ever made it to the World Series? I doubt it.
No.
So
yeah, that'd be a first.
I'll root for Seattle, but I'll go. How about Yankees Phillies or Yankees Brewers? How about that?
Yeah, those are good picks. I mean, I feel like the Yankees didn't address. Last year they had this meltdown in the World Series, and it's like they didn't totally clean that up, and maybe that won't matter for a while in the playoffs. You got Stanton, you got Judge. It's like it's hard to continue with those guys. They're pretty good. Bellinger's been, pretty good. Grisham, good. Yeah, I mean, the Yankees are formidable for sure. I'm going to go off the board and say the Red Sox are going to make a run. I think Garrett Crochet is that good.
He is.
I think he can win them a bunch of games. I'm not saying he's going to go full Bumgarner, but he can get them halfway there in almost every series. And they have a good home field advantage at Fenway. That won't do them any good in the first round. They got to get through Yankee Stadium. I think they've matched up really well against the Yankees.
They've owned them.
So I'm going Red Sox in the American League, and I'm going to say Philly in the National League.
Okay. Yeah, no, I like that pick.
I think the reason I said before, like, I think that best of 5 against the Dodgers, that's the best way to have to face LA, is not to have to get strung out in a 7-game series. Like, have a best of 5. 3 of those games are in your ballpark. The fans would be absolutely insane. So I give the Phillies a little edge in that.
Yeah, I like that. And the Red Sox have owned the Yankees this year. I don't know what the exact record is, 10-2, 9-3, something like that. And the Red Sox feature one of the best feel-good stories of the year. Trevor Story came back this year and was healthy and had a really nice year for them. I think he led them in home runs, might have led them in stolen bases as well. Like, he was really, really good this year. So, and then they're fun. Red Sox are a fun team to watch. So I could definitely get behind. I'll definitely be rooting for the Red Sox. Like, that's my one. People asked me last year, especially here, like Northern California, nobody roots for the Dodgers here. Everybody, that doesn't matter who it is, hate the Dodgers. I'm like, look, I'm down with that unless they're playing one team. Then I got to be with the Dodgers. And that was the Yankees. Like, the Yankees are my team. That's like a no, I'm not. I don't care who they're playing. I don't care if they're playing Satan's 9. I'm still rooting for Satan in that one. Like, I don't want to, but I'll go with him. Like, I'm not high-fiving him, but I'm going to root for him against the Yankees. The Yankees are my team. There's like a few teams: Yankees, Cowboys, Notre Dame, maybe Duke basketball. But there was like 4 or 5 teams out there that, like, okay, that's the team that I just can't stomach rooting for. Cat just can't do it.
Yeah, and look, I love Aaron Boone. He's a friend of mine. I worked with him. I pull for Booney, but you go there, like, I called the World Series last year for MLB. You go there and they treat you like, get out of our way.
Do they really?
Oh man, it's like, what can we do to not help you? That seems to be the theme.
What can we do to not help you?
It's just, there's zero humility of like, hey, we're part of the big picture. We set our own rules. We don't follow the guidelines that MLB says about access and getting to talk to players. Nope. We just doing what we want to do, and makes it hard to really have a lot of warm feelings around there. I love Booney. I love the city of New York. I love how passionate they are about baseball there. Like, it's so fun to be in New York for a big baseball game. The whole city's talking about baseball, thinking about baseball. It's really a cool thing, but yeah, the evil empire is real.
God. Oh, we didn't even get to a great story. How great a story is that? The Mets don't make the playoffs.
Oh, my
God. Fantastic.
Oh.
I was so happy. I was like, oh no, the Reds lost the last day of the season. Oh, the Mets lost too. Perfect. And I love the fact that they could have got in and they didn't, because they couldn't beat the Marlins, who are actually better than most people realize. But still, it's like so great. Cone, $300+ million, all that crap, and then you don't make the playoffs. I mean, it's really like, I'm totally like, I'm on Team Schadenfreude. I do, in certain cases, root for other people's failure. And that's one of those cases. I rooted for their failure. And no problem. I have no problem saying it.
You got failure with a capital F. That was not great.
There's no doubt about it. All right, before we let you go, and I appreciate you joining us, just your take on college football so far this year. I'm not sure we have a dominant team this year. I think Miami may be that team, but I think we're going to find out this, they got to play Florida State at Florida State. So we'll find out if Miami is for real. I think Oregon's definitely for real. That may have been the most impressive victory of the season, to go into Happy Valley at whiteout and grind that thing out with a quarterback, Dante Moore, who hadn't seen anything like that in his career. So he went up there and he handled it beautifully. I think Oregon is probably that team. Miami, we'll find out a little bit more, but it's kind of an interesting college football. And now the playoffs, where they're set up, Dave, you can lose a game, maybe even 2. Bama's back in the mix now after going to Georgia and winning that game. What are your overall impressions of the first month of college football?
Yeah, it's a new world of college football, and it makes it so much harder to evaluate teams early.
Yeah.
There's just so much player turnover. Teams get better as the year goes on. I think judging in the first few weeks is really difficult just because there's just chaos with these rosters and programs. I'm with you on those. I mean, I think Oregon and Miami have been the two most
Yeah.
impressive teams.
And Ohio State looked good at Washington too.
That's a good win. The freshman
Very
quarterback,
good win. Yeah.
freshman quarterback was poised, and that is a
Yep.
really hard place to play. And it's derailed a lot of good players over the years. And I wasn't there, but I'm sure it was jumping. And he should be proud of that. Like, and same thing for Dante Moore, man. I haven't been like his number one. I saw him at UCLA, and like it was kind of a mess down there, and I wasn't sure what to expect. You go in and win that game, that shows you a lot.
Yeah.
I love the quarterback at Miami. I think the Miami quarterback, I don't know what happened last year at Georgia, and then he got banged up. Something obviously was off. He's a good player. The coach, look, that Miami's got a track record under Mario of really screwing up some game management stuff.
Yes, they did. Remember the one against Stanford?
Oh my God. Oh, one of the all-time worst.
Yes,
Georgia
it was.
Tech, when he goes to Miami and has the Georgia Tech debacle.
Yep.
Like that's to me is still a big question for that team. They have a lot of talent. I think you said maybe a 2-loss team. It's possible this year we get a 3-loss playoff team, which how do I feel about that? When I watch these big college football games, they still feel big and they still feel really fun. It would be disingenuous for me to say, oh, it takes away the fun of the regular season. No, I'm enjoying the regular season. It's been awesome. But there's so much more of a cushion. Like there's going to be a team that we have either dismissed or aren't thinking about much right now that gets hot, and by the end of the year, we're going to say is one of the favorites. It's definitely a wide open year in college football. The SEC may not be quite as, it's funny because the SEC is going to get a bunch of teams in. They have most of the good players, but I look across the SEC and I'm not seeing like the dominant teams that we've had. Georgia is more flawed. Alabama is definitely more flawed. Texas is way more flawed than we thought they were going to be. Oklahoma's good. I like Oklahoma. They have a real good chance to go to the playoff, but I don't think they're a perfect team by any stretch. Wide open year, that is typically fun. Like it's going to be hard to predict. What you and I are talking before that college football playoff, that's going to be hard to figure out.
Yeah, I think, and people were, they pointed out all the blowouts in the first round last year, the playoffs. And my comeback was always, well, would you rather watch Notre Dame blow out Indiana in a playoff game that at least starts out meaningful and kind of it degrades a little bit as the game goes on? Or would you rather watch that same game in an innocuous bowl game where 7 guys aren't playing because they're all opting out, getting ready for the draft? I go, it's a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you want to have those playoff games where at bare minimum you get to watch the players who you'd watched all year, barring injury, play in those games because there's something meaningful behind those games, advancing in the playoffs? Or do I want to watch the Emerald Bowl or something where nobody plays? They go, to me, this is like, the system didn't work perfectly last year. I think the seeding, which they're going to fix this year, was a little wonky. But I'm all in on this, and I agree with you. I like watching Oregon at Penn State, whether it's a 14 playoff or 12-team playoff, because it's 2 really good college football teams playing against each other. Georgia, Alabama. By the way, I watched both those games. As good as Oregon Penn State was and as cool as the whiteout was, I swear every time I watch an SEC football game, I'm like, it's just different down there. It's just, you feel it on your TV when you're watching. You're like, I'm sorry, Penn State. It ain't Georgia, Alabama. It just isn't.
No, and our crew had a kind of a weird game. We went to Mississippi State in week 2 and had Arizona State at Mississippi State. Maybe that was week 3, whatever it was.
Yep.
And Mississippi State won 2 games last year. 2. They were 2-10 last year. They were 0-8 in the SEC. This was their first home game, so it must have been week 2. First home game. Absolutely packed, like crazy loud. And they win the game, and the fans storm the field and tear down the goalposts. And I'm like, damn, this team was 2-10 last year. 2-10. It is something else, and there is nothing like SEC football. There just is nothing. Big Ten football is awesome, and our old Pac-12 had some great moments. The torch gets lit at the Coliseum and Autzen Stadium.
Yeah.
Just as a whole, the SEC is a whole different animal. You know, one thing that makes one and 2 quick follow-ups to your points. One thing is the quarterback situation across the country this year is weird. Like there aren't as many sort of like surefire dominant quarterbacks that are going to carry their team to the playoff or to the semifinals or whatever. There just doesn't seem to be that group this particular year. The second thing is this. Those first round playoff games last year were blowouts, but Boise State for all those years never got a chance to play. And then the Boise State kind of matchups in the playoffs were also not super compelling. But like they didn't get a chance for all those years. Not every one of their great teams was able to measure up with the best in college football, but a few of them probably were. And so this system protects those years where you have one of those kind of teams that would have just been out before, because there will be a year where a team like that or a couple teams like that makes more of a run. It does happen in this sport. And that, to me, that's important that we gave those teams, those special teams, at least a chance.
No, I don't think there's any doubt. Hey, real quick before I let you go, if you drop food on the ground, how long do you leave it there and pick it up and eat it? Do you follow the strict 5-second rule, or once it's on the ground, it's in the trash?
No, I think it's more like what kind of ground did you drop it on? Did you drop it in the dust bowl, or did you drop it on what looks like? I mean, because I'm cool with, if you drop it, I'm cool with just brushing it off. And I think it's more about where you drop it than the time.
Yeah.
Because
I don't care. I mean,
I don't know what the time thing has to do with it. Like,
I mean, look, it could be 2 seconds. But if it's at like a peep show, then like you're not gonna pick it up and eat it. Just not gonna happen. No, that would be not only unsanitary, it'd be sickening, is what it would be.
Correct.
All right. In a moment of weakness, or maybe not even weakness, do you sneak a little sip out of the milk jug?
Yes, that's a yes. Yeah. Maybe not that, but I've started to cheat a little more. I have. I've had some moments of weakness,
I said yesterday, you put one Oreo in your mouth, you don't want to get like a glass of milk. You just want a little swig to cover the Oreo, and you're like chew it up, and you're like good to go. So
how can you not like you're hungry? It's late at night. Somebody orders a cheese pizza. It's like, I'm not going to take a bite out of that. Yes, I am. Sorry.
Yes, I'm going to take one bite out of it. That's it. All right. What's your most peculiar food pairing? Whether it be pairings of food or maybe a condiment you put on a food that maybe is a little odd that people wouldn't suspect.
That's I don't know that I have a lot of really weird ones. I mean, I'll eat almost anything. Like, what would yours be? Jar my mind.
I don't know if it's odd, but I love peanut butter and bagels. Like, I'll put peanut butter on bagels, and usually most people put it on toast or English muffins. I like putting it on bagels. I don't know that that's bizarre in and unto itself, and I don't do it as much since I got my gallbladder removed about a year ago, and I can't eat nuts as much because it's got the fat in it, and then my stomach gets all like tweaked, and it's just like, okay, so I haven't eaten peanut butter, and I love peanut butter. God, I love
peanut butter. I eat a lot. I'd be lost without peanut butter.
I love peanut butter. Now, the one thing I've only done a couple times, like the milk thing, I think just as long as you keep your lips off the lid, you're okay. Because you don't want to have the Oreo residue on nobody wants to see that when they grab their milk in the morning. But where I draw the line, Dave, is maybe only once or twice I've done this, where you stick your finger in the peanut butter and take it out and just Now don't re-dip because that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
You can't re-dip after that. But that seems like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't do that one. Maybe that's gone overboard a little bit.
Yeah, since you said peanut butter, I'm surprised how few people like. If I have oatmeal, peanut butter's in it 100 times out of 100.
Is it really?
Put peanut butter in oatmeal every time I have oatmeal, and so many people are like, really, I've never done that. Like, to me, it makes oatmeal way better, more filling. Like, I like oatmeal, but peanut butter in oatmeal is like a must for me.
Yeah. I think you need to retract that statement, Dave. You don't like oatmeal. I've argued with people about this forever. No one likes oatmeal. They like oatmeal with raisins, with brown sugar. No one sits down to a bowl of straight oatmeal and says, "Man, I can't wait to eat this," because oatmeal sucks on its own.
True. That's probably true. I think of oatmeal as the whole thing. The other thing, I don't do this much anymore, but because I don't eat much of. I'll cheat with some fish every once in a while, but I used to love tuna fish sandwich. Like, tuna fish sandwich to me is really good. Sometimes I'd make like a tuna melt, but even on a regular,
love tuna melts.
Yeah, tuna melts are great. Mustard on top of the tuna melt. Do you ever do that?
Yes, absolutely.
I
love
really
it.
Weird. Like, people are like, ooh, tuna fish and mustard,
pickles.
Pickles for sure. Yeah.
Pickle chips. Yes. Give me the pickle chips. Oh yeah, man. I love tuna melts. I don't make them much myself. I'll order out, or maybe I'll go down to the local golf course. They have a cafe there, diner, and I'll get a tuna melt. But yeah, I love tuna melts. The only problem is when you have to explain it to the people, like the tuna's got to be hot. It can't be cold. You can't sear the bread and then have the tuna in the middle and I bite it and it's warm and then it's cold in the middle. It's like, you got to get that. So many people, it doesn't seem that hard to me, but so many places screw up a tuna melt just by not cooking the tuna properly. It's like, what are we doing here? It's not that hard, is it?
Don't get the cheese up against the broiler so close that it's going to melt in 4 seconds, and then you got to yank it out. Like, you got to keep it farther. Let it be a slow melt so that the whole thing can warm up. That doesn't seem like that should be that hard.
It really doesn't. Like, I don't think you need Julia Childs to tell you that. I mean, it shouldn't be that.
I can tell you definitely don't need Julia.
It shouldn't be that. I've never asked you this because you're mostly a vegetarian now. You just said you sneak in little fish. Was that just, I mean, when did that come about? Was it the family was going that direction? Kids were going that direction? Because I know, well, you used to talk about cooking all the time. You used to make all kinds of meat dishes and like kind of cool stuff, if I'm being honest. But I guess one day you just gave it up.
All that cool stuff that you and I talked about during the pandemic. Yeah. Then I got checked at like October of that year, and it was bad, really bad, like bad.
Scared straight.
Yeah, so I got scared, and back then I didn't want to. Now I'm taking every pill I can take. I've thrown that out the window. But back then I was so young. I gotta let me try to do this on my own and not. So I really got scared by like the blood work was not looking.
Yeah.
And I a lot of you and I would talk about. I make these carnitas and slow roast stuff, and I'd be out on the grill, and then let's make some homemade ice cream to go with that. What could go wrong? Lord.
Do you miss? I'm sure. I mean, I would imagine you miss it a little bit, but do you miss the cooking that went along with it? Because it's kind of fun to cook those dishes. How much do you miss that?
Probably more than I miss eating it in a way.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that my oldest two are in college, I miss it. I probably don't miss it as much because that's what I loved about it was we would all kind of pitch in, and so the cooking was like all of us together. It was a chance to eat together. So now that we don't have as much of that time, I probably don't miss it quite as much. But I love it. I mean, last night, you'll laugh at me here. So my wife's going to go see him. It's family weekend this weekend, so she's going to go see the girls, and they like homemade granola. So last night I was making, I made the homemade granola to send with my wife for family weekend. And while I was doing it, I figured I got a big mess going. I made some homemade pickles since you brought up pickles. I love making pickles.
Look at you. Why would I laugh at you for making homemade granola for your daughters?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
what do you think? I'm a monster? Jeez. I actually think that's pretty admirable that you're making homemade granola for your
one of the baseball off season. I've got pickles and granola going.
Oh my gosh. Are you doing any baseball playoffs?
Only the World Series. I'll do the World Series again
Okay.
For MLB. So if you're on a military base somewhere, if you're in London or Australia,
if you're on a military base or in London,
you'll be able to watch me. It's great. We get huge ratings in London. Massive.
Hey, Dave, as always, it's a real pleasure. I miss talking to you, and since you offered, next time we'll get you over to the backyard. Maybe we can do something around college football playoff time.
Let's book it. I'll come out to the zoo, and we'll sit there, and
the zoo will be on fire as it always is. It might even be raining out here, which is, we did a show out here where it was raining coming down on the canopy. I kept thinking of Eddie Rabbit, R.I.P. I love a rainy night, except it wasn't a night, it was a day. But it hitting the canopy, I was just worried I was going to fall asleep, Dave, because it's so soothing. I was going to be talking to
Eddie Rabbit's not with us anymore. He's checked out.
I think Eddie Rabbit's R.I.P. I mean, I usually don't kill people before their time, and I'd be sad if I did. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Eddie Rabbit was like 5 years ago, something like that, because I remember it. I want to say fairly clearly, but maybe I didn't remember it all that clearly. Let's find out. Yeah. Oh, geez. I'm not even close. He died in 98. So it's been 27 years.
I guess that's why
I was right on top of that one. I was right on top of that one. That's usually what'll happen, Dave. Maybe rarely will I miss someone. I'll say someone's dead and they're not, but that's what'll happen. I'll go, how long ago was that? Like 4 or 5 years ago? And it's like 30 years ago. I'm like, what happened for 30 years? Did I just my brain shut down? Yeah, it really does. Right. Dave, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the playoffs and enjoy. Where can we watch you next college football?
I've got Cal this weekend, because why wouldn't you that's my third Cal game in 6 weeks. The Pac-12 dissolving has definitely affected my college football schedule. There aren't that many choices for that late night slot, but they have Duke, and it's kind of a it's a big game for Cal. So I love the freshman quarterback at Cal is amazing. He is so good. Like, he is a star. So chance to watch him again, and I don't have to get on an airplane.
Good travel. Hey, that's really all that it's about. You don't have to get on an airplane.
That's it.
Have a good call Saturday night. Okay. Thanks, Dave. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Appreciate it, Dave. Oh my gosh. It is always a distinct pleasure to have Dave Flemming on the show. So Dave said he'll come out around college football playoff time. Come to the backyard. We'll do that. That'll be fun. That'll be a good time. So if you guys got any comments, we can do that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We do have some news for you. We are going. I should make a contest. I should turn this into a contest somehow. If anybody can guess, I won't even ask you what the category is. We got our first sponsor of the show, and it was one that I was kind of hoping that it would be, and I'm sure you guys will be able to figure out that it's beer. I know, it's surprising, isn't it? We're going to be doing stuff with Fieldwork Brewing, which is pretty exciting for me, since I've been a fan of their product and a fan of Barry and a fan of their mission. I really love the fact that they really embrace not only the beer making craft, but the fact that Berkeley Humane is near and dear to them. I want to get some other humane societies involved too. So I'm all about raising money for the animals. So I'm pretty excited. We're going to have a partnership with Barry Braden and Fieldwork Brewing. And we may do another show over there at some point, but we'll keep you up to date with what they have going on over at their fine establishments. And by the way, you might want to head over to one of their fine establishments and get an Oktoberfest beer, Fest and Last. I had one of those last night. Fantastic. By the way, why is Oktoberfest mostly in September? I don't know, but I thought it'd make more sense if Oktoberfest was in October. It ends in October, but the bulk of Oktoberfest is in September. I guess maybe it sounded better. Oktoberfest does sound better than Septemberfest. Although anything with fest on the end of it, it's not bad. I can't complain. If it says fest on the end of it, I'm usually down for that. So anyway, we will keep you up to date with what's going on with that. But want to welcome Fieldwork Brewing to the show. So I'm pretty excited about that. All right, everybody, have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. I'm going to head in, and what do we got here? Just think, I only missed Eddie Rabbit by about 27 years. Wow. Oh, God. I wasn't even close. 2-1, top 9. Tigers over the Guardians. I can't wait. Oh, Padres already at 1-0. That's already started. Damn. Like, this is such a great day. It's baseball all day long. It's just the best. I love the playoffs. So I want to get in there and watch. I should find a TV stand that I could put out here so I could have the games on. Then I wouldn't be paying attention to the show. So anyway, everybody have a great day. We will be back Thursday night. Bergie will come over. We're going to have our fireside chats after the Rams game. Rams-Niners. Hopefully Purdy plays. I mean, these guys, he can't catch a break at all. We'll see about Pearsall, see if he plays. But we're going to be doing a show right here like we do on Sundays, except we'll do it on Thursdays. It'll be dark. It'll be spooky. We'll have the fire going. We'll have Mike right over here to my left. So it's going to be it'll be a show unlike any other. It's probably going to be a lot like the rest of it, to be honest, except it'll be dark. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the baseball playoffs, everybody. Until Thursday. See ya.